yeah, Boost from East End, we're back again. You know, it's been a while, hasn't it, DJ Flexx? We've been a bit
You know what?
lazy.
Yeah, I mean, you get lazy, you know what I mean, and you forget, we've got a podcast we're supposed to be running. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, that's how it gets. I think it's been a weird time, hasn't it? But again, look, we're here to entertain and we're here to obviously educate people as well. Again, always here with DJ Flexx, and today we've got Charles, our guest today. Charles, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No worries at all. So yeah, look, we've got a range of topics to cover today. I think life as a Black Brit, getting married young. I know there's a lot of sort of our age group who are looking to commit their life to future spouses, and that's always a topic that causes debates. And also entrepreneurship as well, which I think, Charles, that's your area of expertise. So we're looking to hear your thoughts on that. But yeah, life as a Black Brit, DJ Flexx. I mean, that's something that you just
I think
like
it's
talking
interesting.
about.
You know what I mean? Because I think, and I want to get Charles's point of view on it all as well. You know what I mean? Life, as a black man, in the United Kingdom, we touched on a bit in our football segment where we said, what, black people don't really get a fair shake in regards to how the media portrays them. But I think maybe growing up as a young black person, even through the educational system, I feel that sometimes, you are treated a bit different to your Asian peers or white peers, you know what I mean? And I just wanted to get your thoughts, not just within the educational sector, but as well the social divide between blacks, Asians, and whites, you know what I mean? How that is and how that shapes a young black man's life. And as well as that, maybe even the racial divide in terms of how the police or law enforcement deal with, black families, because not even just by way of the police, but then also by way of social services as well. How that can also be perceived, and maybe even in the health sector, how blacks maybe are perceived. Maybe I've heard stories of black women going to the hospital requesting for epidurals and things like that, but not receiving it because doctors just feel that, maybe you should be able to handle the pain, et cetera, and, they've ended up losing the child or ended up going through unnecessary pain where regards to childbirthing, and those stigmas are just put on them because they're black. So yeah, I mean, I've said a lot there. You know what I'm saying? But I just
yeah, Charles, this whole show is yours, Charles. So yeah,
But I mean,
it's for you. You know what I
that's
mean?
your stage, mate.
let me start as a fairly young black man who's I came to this country at the age of 6, okay, from Ghana. And when I came, I looked as black as my t-shirt, and it was very apparent very early on at that age of 6, coming from Ghana, where I never experienced, I never even lived with white people. I never lived with anybody else other than a Ghanaian. So coming here, going to primary school was a rude awakening. And just to give you, I'm going to try and keep my story very short, but it's gonna build up to the point of what I'm trying to say. In primary school at the age of 6, I was getting called all sorts of names, but not by the white guys, not by the white students, but by my own black, Caribbean, and even sometimes other African nation brothers and sisters. Names such as Black Attack, just to name a few. Okay, now that name, those kind of names make you want to understand yourself and know where you're from. And I was fortunate that because I went through all that with fellow black people as well, not even from the whites. It allowed me to understand the difference between myself as an African and the other black people as non-Africans, per se. It's funny because my wife today is one of those people who used to call me a Black Attack, but she's my wife today. Okay, and
tables have turned.
tables turned, and the same woman who married me, I even took to Africa, to Ghana, and so on and so forth to even experience that. And obviously, she's more enlightened now. Now, those days, it was okay. It was almost perceived okay for Caribbeans to be racist or biased or prejudiced to Africans. It was this whole, it's us and them attitude. And that's changed so much over time. And it took, I don't know how it changed or what made it change, but over the years, obviously now Caribbeans have recognized where their own heritage comes from. education, I think, has also helped and allowed people to realize there ain't that divide anymore. But yeah, as I grew up in the 80s, early 90s, racism was paramount. And as I said, it allowed me, I appreciate it now because I realized the value of it. I appreciate it now because it always wanted me to really know my heritage and where I come from. And as young black people, a lot of problems we have now in society for black people, especially young people, is because they don't know where they come from. They don't. They've lost heritage. Even the ones that are born here think they're from here.
Yeah.
Big mistake. That's the biggest mistake you're gonna make to yourself. Is
Sure, so let's interrupt you there. Do you know how you mentioned about your experiences? I think, do you feel like because you came to UK at 6, so you already experienced life in Ghana, and you come here, do you think that played a difference? Because you mentioned a lot of young people now, perhaps maybe they were born here, so that's all they've seen so far. So do you feel as if your experiences come from Ghana and actually living that life prior? Do you think that's what really helped?
That made a big difference, Richard. And I think if I had been raised here, born here, maybe my mentality might have been different. But then in saying that, I went back at a young age. I came back in England and then went again. So I've spent a lot of time going home, and understanding that there is a home other than this home. And these young guys, they're lost because they don't know that there's a better world out there. They don't know that they're actually from somewhere, which may not be a better world. But guess what? If they go and they open their eyes and they see the opportunities, they can create a better world for themselves there. And it takes wanting to know. You have to have the desire to know your heritage and know where you come from. You have to want it. If you're here like, oh, I'm English, I'm British, I'm English. I mean, I don't rep the whole I'm English, I'm British stories. No, I'm an African.
I mean, do you think
I
it's
have a red book.
a bit difficult for kids coming through the ranks? Maybe even your own kids, to identify to another place simply because in history lesson, they're not taught that you are from another, country, another descent, although you was born here. Like, it feels like your history is systematically being kept away from you, so to speak.
Yeah. And that's why it's important for parents. That's why I commend people like my mom and stuff, because they made me go back home. Like, you're going on holiday, you're going to Ghana. We never had holidays going to Spain.
Yes.
I don't even, you understand? He's going home. You're going home. You're going Ghana, and you go Ghana, and you go Africa. And those trips is what, because you can easily get lost. That's what I said. At a certain age, even me, I could have got lost. If I hadn't gone back at certain times in my youth, I would have lost. And my kids, they're going to be going. There's no doubt about it. They're going to go for holidays. They're going to be, there'll be times when we'll just be there for a month. So on and so. Because just the trips alone will enlighten them. You don't need to do anything as a parent. Just take them. Let them be there for a week. But if you take your children every summer, instead of to Spain and to all these other places we're going to Africa, you will realize that all these youths, if you start earlier, before the age of 10, and when they start getting into all these trouble, that they'll be getting in trouble. But then I was just getting in trouble. I was a bad boy. I'm not gonna lie. When I was saying to you, I was a bad boy. But I come home and get beats because my mum had the culture where it was almost like being in Africa, but you're here in England. So I was like, whoa, I need to stop getting these beats. Why do I want to keep getting beat for? I don't need it. I need to educate myself to understand who I am and realize certain things I'm going to do different from the white man. As simple as that. And opportunities are in Africa. Our kids have to know Africa. If these young boys knew what is out there for them, they wouldn't be fighting over postcode.
Yeah.
They wouldn't. Because in I go to Accra now, no youth their age are fighting over postcodes, because guess what? And this is the culture of Africa though. Every parent owns a land. We all sit here, we all have access to resources. We all have access to land. Where are we gonna have? I'm never gonna be able to give my children pass land onto them in Essex. It's not gonna happen. But if I go take them home now to Ghana and show them, listen, Daddy has 50 acres over here. It's gonna be for you. All of a sudden now, this child that's grown up in England, feeling unwanted, feeling all the feelings they feel to lash out the way they do and to rebel the way they do. I'm like, you'll be thinking, hold on, I can go home, you know. I've got 30 acres there. Start thinking you're somebody, you're from somewhere. Don't forget that. This government doesn't owe us as black people anything.
True. I don't disagree.
We actually owe it to ourselves.
Yeah.
To go and get what's ours, which is sitting there for us. But we've sat here for so many years and generations that now you get on a plane to Africa, you got your Russians, you got your Germans, you got your every nationality is going there.
Yeah.
So the things that we should be giving to our children sooner rather than later. We're here fighting, parents and young people are fighting to save money to go and get a mortgage that you will never own that property. It'll take a long, long time and a lot of money for you to own that property. And even when you do, unless you bought a freehold, there's a leasehold on it.
Yeah.
So generations to come, 90 years, if you live for 90 years alone, you've only got a 99-year lease. You've only got 9 years left for your children to now go and battle and extend the lease on. You know, so whereas you were back home in Africa, there's no such thing as mortgages. And it's coming now in different forms, but everybody's plan is, I want to build my house. I want to build my house. I want to buy my land and I want to build my house.
It's true. And
that's empowerment. That is empowerment.
It is.
That is real empowerment. Having a mortgage is not an empowerment. It's a debt. It's all it is. It's a debt. You have a huge debt over your head just so that you can have a roof over your head. Now, I would rather, and I'm not discouraging anybody I'm just saying I'm different. I would rather, if I'd known this when I took my first mortgage at the age of 21, very young, took myself into debt. And I wish I'd known what I know now. You know, I would have put that money in Ghana and I probably own about 3-4 flats for the money I lost on a one bed flat here. And imagine if you do the maths, if you were to build yourself 2, 3, 4 flats, a small block of flats in Ghana, for the same amount of money it'll cost you to buy a 2-bedroom house in Hackney, yeah? The return you get on owning your own property that you rent out in Africa will be more over the long run than it would be than when you went and took a mortgage for 25, 35 years of your life. True.
It's been proven as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we got to educate the young people to know that you're from somewhere. You got this not just Africa, you're Caribbean, go to Caribbean. There's so many opportunities. The opportunities are there, but you know, we're almost brainwashed to believe that this is it. This is all we have, and Don't travel, don't go anywhere. Just get on the easy jet because it's cheap to Barcelona, or it's cheap to get to Paris. But what's there for you?
It's a good point. It's like, sorry to interrupt you. It's I guess when it comes to like countries like Europe, it's advertised, glamorized, isn't it? It's like you can go to a tourist attraction, you can go to Disneyland, you can do this, you can do that. So automatically, that is what they see as that's what I should be experiencing. It's like you made a good point about your kids going to get the experience of knowing where they're from, whereas we're going for an experience, enjoy ourselves. We're going to go to Disneyland. We're going to go to America, experience what they've got there. Whereas that won't benefit our future education about where we're from previously. Do you know what I mean? So I think a lot of things are advertised in a certain way to kind of draw us to go and experience those things rather than actually. I remember a point as well. You mentioned about going to Ghana. I've always said, last spoke to Francis, I'm like, growing up in my family, we always went to Ghana. We didn't go to Spain or America. I've never been to America before. We didn't go to those countries. We always went to Ghana for 6 weeks or 2 weeks, whatever it was. But I was always the one kind of thinking, oh, let's go somewhere else for a bit. Now, I'll admit that. I was thinking, let's go to Spain, let's go to Italy, let's experience something different. Because in my mind, that was what I thought as if going to Ghana was a family trip. I didn't feel as if it was a place where, I mean, I've changed now, obviously grown up a bit, but I didn't feel as if a place where I was going to go and have a good time. I thought I'm going to go with the family, go to grandma's house, just stay there basically. Whereas I thought if I was going to go to America or go to Europe, I'd have more fun there. That was my mindset as a younger person. Whereas now, going to Ghana now, it's a completely different place now. Like you go there, you don't want to come back.
Of course, and that's where Richard, you know, guys like the older generation like us coming through and so on, we've got to do better because I always sit here and I want to dream of building a Disneyland in Africa, but who's talking about it?
Nice facts.
And which one of our leaders are trying to do it? Because if they did, we would attract families to take holidays in Ghana because you've got a Disneyland Paris, or we've got an F1 track. You know, there's so many things that we can do as a people, and it's not late. It's never late, but we don't think. We're not thinking.
Do you think that leadership has been a massive issue within like Africa?
Massive, unbelievable. The leadership, unbelievable. I lived in Ghana for 9 years. It's the worst leadership you're gonna get. I mean, we complain about European leaders and Western leaders. Honestly, African leaders are terrible, and they're terrible because it's not even their fault. You know, it's a cultural thing. You know, everybody grows up in Africa. Go and ask 9 out of 10 teenagers in school, in university, and you know, we're gonna get onto entrepreneurship. But just to touch, I mean, I own a part of a private university in Ghana, and probably half the students want to grow up, finish school to become either a politician or a policeman.
Because the easy money you can get.
Right. And the worst thing is not because, I mean, I would love and I would love for people to say they want to become into politics because you want to change your situation, your thing. It would be great, but they all progress into that position and just get the money and forget about all the stuff they said before.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
So it's going to take generations like us who are here, who are educated, who have experienced all these things, and want better for our generations to come to go back home and make the change.
And so you say then that's what a benefit of, let's say, being a Black Brit in this country is that you're exposed to, you know, maybe how politics should be ran. I mean, obviously it's not perfect here, you know, but it's better than what it is like over there. The free access to education, you know what I mean, which is, you know, unrivaled. You know what I'm saying? I would say globally, you know. So I think those are two very solid, good starting foundations. You know, this country at least gives everybody, regardless.
Francis, let's take the Queen's Head. You see, I tell people this all the time. I'm 40 years old, almost 40. I'm giving myself 10 years max more in this country, only because I just want the Queen's Head on those papers. When I've got enough of those Queen's Head on the papers, I carry those papers and I go to my country, because when I turn the Queen's Head into Ghana cities, it's times 7. I could do anything I want. You see, we sit here and we laugh at the Eastern Europeans that have come here, and that's why I'm so upset about this whole Brexit, because it's just another form of stupid racism and prejudice. They come here and they get their money, and they go back home and they build their houses and they do this and they do that and do that. But yet we Africans, we sit here and we waste our money sitting here investing in this country, and then there's a property crash, and then there's this financial thing. Like this whole Corona time, it should even be the biggest wake-up call for Black people.
We work so many jobs, like, we know obviously aunties, relatives, you work so many jobs endlessly without break, and it's like, what are you going to benefit really? Like, obviously the working hard to obviously go back home one day, but it comes a question like, are you going to be able to go back home one day and enjoy that?
Some even die here, to be fair.
Exactly.
And with every plan, you know, to be a successful business person or to have a successful business, you know, when you're trying to uproot yourself out, you have to do it without the money. If you sit there and say you're going to wait to have money to do something, guess what? You're never going to do it.
Because when is enough money?
Exactly. When are you going to have enough to do it? But if you start with zero, you have the idea, I want to create this cup. Yeah? I want to create this cup. I don't have the money, but guess what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to plan the process of making this cup. That alone is even the first step. Having a plan down packed in your mind. Because at any time in life, you're going to meet the opportunity to be able to do it. But if you're so focused, I've got to make money first, I've got to make money. Guess what? Sometimes the opportunity will come past you and your focus is on trying to make the money instead of, oh, that was the opportunity. Hold on. That guy got a link. He's got this. I can put it together. 2 + 2 = 4.
So we're back again, you know what I mean? And a lot of very good points were made in part 1 of our discussion. And it dovetailed quite nicely into entrepreneurship, you know what I mean? As Charles was saying, you know, we've got to, you know, see what other opportunities lie outside the UK. you know, and if we realize those opportunities, you know, we won't be fighting for postcodes, and we won't be wasting our money on frivolous things, you know, and that goes right into entrepreneurship. But I don't want to just talk about entrepreneurship, you know. I want us to talk about Black entrepreneurship. And no, this is not a podcast to, you know, black everything or anything like that. It's not that type of podcast. But what we have noticed, and I'm sure each of us have noticed, that, you know, Black businesses don't go a long way, you know what I mean? And if they do go a long way, let's say it has the help or the booster pack of some white person somewhere, or some Jewish, or some Asian, or whatever involved. It's like some empowerment which comes outside of the race to help, you know, you get to where you need to go. So Charles, Black entrepreneurship, you know what I mean, where do you think we are right now, you know what I mean, in 2020, you know, or let's take 2019 and where we are in 2020, where would you say we are?
I think we've failed, to say the least, because you look at America. Now, America is a capitalist country, and they're all for business, and they pursue it, and they encourage it. So you have a lot of big, successful Black businesses, big successful Black businesses, big successful Black people. Not to say we don't have successful people in the UK, but do we have big successful Black companies? Can you ask yourself that question?
No, we don't.
We don't. But yet, you know, in other parts of the world, in the Western world, these things are encouraged. And it's because the racism here in this country is a bit more, it's under radar, you know, it's under the book. It's not on the front pages. It's not, you know, but yeah, it's very, very covert, and it's very, which is great, which is cool. And as I said, you know, I would rather invest my money in create businesses, the same businesses. I was talking to a friend just the other day about something like this. I said to him, look, we sit here, you've got Amazon, which is a great product, right? But why don't we have an Amazon? Why doesn't somebody go back to Africa and create an Amazon in Africa?
You know what they have? They have.
Right.
Update.
Great. Yeah, but that's not even being promoted to people here. How many people know this? I mean, I didn't even know until you said. But I wouldn't be surprised that it is happening, and it's great. And it should be happening. We should be creating more businesses. I'll give you an example. The person who brought KFC to Ghana, for example, he was an Asian.
Yeah,
yeah,
I bet. And just sorry to cut you, the Amazon in Africa is called Jumia. That's
so
what
it's Asian.
I guess so.
Possibly. It more than likely is, you know, and we're sitting here and allowing these things to happen. Whereas we have people like France who I consider to be a genius on computers and things like that, right? Now, I should be able to come to France with my idea and say, France, I have a business. Yeah, I need you. And this is where it comes why we don't work together very well as Black people. We don't realize this. Networking amongst ourselves is terrible. But if you build your network is your wealth, because networks create wealth easily. Because if I have an idea, I want to create something digital or whatever, maybe like an Amazon, for example. I can't do that based on my own small business knowledge. I need somebody who's good in IT. I need somebody who's good in logistics. We need to come together to
marketing
create,
as well.
That's right, marketing, so many things. And there you go, Richard. And then between the three of us, we can create these things. Because you cannot tell me a white man just woke up and did it by himself. That Tim Resource, whatever his name is, so he built it by himself. He had a team that came on, and he managed to do it. So we need to create teams. We need to network with each other to get these things. Now, as a young man, I was given the opportunity to leave this country. Yeah, at the age of 25, I left this country because my father said to me, Charles, there's a business in Ghana that you should go and run. You're going to make a lot of money. I didn't even need to think twice because it's my father anyway. So I'm fortunate that I had a father who did these things. But the point is, at that time, when that decision was being made, at the age of 25, the average 25-year-old would have said no.
Yeah.
100% would have said no. I mean, I had a great house, I had a job, I had a car, I had everything I wanted. Why would I uproot myself from the UK to go and live in Africa where there's no lights, sometimes no water, you know, mosquitoes? The list is endless.
Yeah.
But I thought ahead. You understand? I thought beyond my age of 25. And that's where a lot of people fail, is that they don't think beyond their noses. Like, I'm 28, this is it. Like, no, instead of thinking, what am I going to be doing when I'm 38? What do I want to be doing when I'm 38? Where do I want to be when I'm 38? But I'm 25 now, but I'm thinking I'm 38. And that sacrifice that I made, 9 years, I left here in 2008. I've only been back 5 years or so now.
But do you think, Charles, do you think the reason why you were so like, because you, I guess, in a way, was kind of built differently. You came there at 6 years old, you had the experiences, you grew up a bit, then you went back again, and you came back. Do you feel as if all that experience in that short space of time, that's why you perhaps think a bit differently?
Those experiences, the racism and all those things I experienced, built me to know that this ain't for me. Built me to know that I got to do more. Even if this is where I'm gonna be and all that, I have to be doing more. And as a black man, I'm not guaranteed. Even my own people are doing this to me. So why do I need to follow? You know, don't be a follower, be a leader. Being a leader means taking bold decisions, making sacrifices, and coming out of your comfort zone. You know, once you learn to be out of your comfort zone and you're comfortable, you can live anywhere, and you can achieve anything.
It's true.
But when you're so, oh no, I love the social benefits and I love this, or I can't do. There's no social benefits in Africa, but people survive. And they survive based on sheer hunger, the will to want to succeed, you know, determination, all those characteristics that we form as young people. We can use it to our advantage, but it's going to be spoilt if you're just sitting here comfortable.
So it seems like you're more of a, you know, entrepreneurship. You know, you like take it to Africa. You know what I mean?
I am.
You know, develop and build something over here.
Yeah.
You see,
because here it's done. Europe is finished. Europe, there's nothing here for us in Europe. They just did Brexit. We got nothing. There's nothing left in Europe, full stop. Yeah? Even if you went to America, you'd probably be more successful, because America's based on a capitalist system. So it doesn't matter your color.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing something, you're going to be a success. Whereas this country, we're socialist, social, economic, I don't even know what we are. Our mentality is different here. You know, it's all that go to work, go get job, go to work, pay your bills, pay your taxes. I can't keep giving my taxes to the Queen when my own country, we don't have clean water and we don't have gutters and we don't have this, it doesn't make no sense. We educate people. You know, if you look at the businesses that my father created in the beginning, they were essential. I mean, down to, I'll give you an example, what made my father millions. And I told somebody this the other day, because we sit here and think, oh my gosh, I've got to go do something really big to be a success. You don't. My father made millions from selling yams.
As you said, that's essential as well, because people love yams, don't they?
Not even is it essential, it's a commodity in the African community.
Yeah.
Yam is a commodity in the African community. So now you're supplying a commodity to the Western world where it's full of these Africans. How are you not going to be a success? How are you not going to be a success? For years, I used to sell shea butter. When I was selling shea butter, the funny thing, when I used to sell shea butter send shea butter to UK, shea butter wasn't that popular.
Yeah, it's very popular now, boy.
And it's like in everything, we're going to sit there and then slowly people are going to realize, oh no, this is such a great product. But yet we have it in abundance. We have food in Africa, in the trees, the skies, and the ground.
It's true. It's true.
We have resources all over us. All over us. So as an African, when I sit on the plane and I've got this foreigner sitting next to me, I'm like, I can't understand. Where are my brothers? Where are they? What are they doing? How much does it cost to even go home? It don't cost that much.
£800
at most, and that include and that can include your spending money. That's your flight and your spending money, because you can get a flight for £400. Add another £400 in your pocket. Guess what? You can't spend £400 in 10 days in Ghana or in any part of Africa. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
So we need to encourage ourselves to go back And as I said, I saw the opportunity and I went. But apart from just going to do what my father wanted me to do, I went and I opened my eyes, and I realized I saw things that I could do for myself as a young entrepreneur, black entrepreneur. And one business that I'll touch on that I did, that with my wife and I created, was a loan company. We used to lend money to market people. Now, I sat down and realized that the economy and the basis of all financial success in Africa and in Ghana particularly was the women.
Interesting.
Was the women.
How did you get to that conclusion?
Yeah, how did I get to that conclusion? Because if Francis, you come and ask me for £100 today, and I give it to you, when you leave my office, you might meet a female. She might be of your liking. She might say, let's go for a drink. Let's go have something to eat. Guess what? You're going to go. You got £100 of my money in your pocket, bearing in mind that you told me you're going to do a business with. A man is more than likely going to spend 30-40% of that money on what he didn't plan on doing. Whereas the market woman, who is the breadwinner of the house, she's got 2 kids, 3 kids, husband from, doing whatever he's doing. When she comes for the money, because her market stall, this is their lifeline, this is their bread and butter, she takes that money, she's going to do what she says she's going to do with it. And the women are the backbone of the economy in Ghana, because they're the ones that get the money and they save it. They're the ones that get the money and they invest it. They're the ones that get the money and don't wait. They find ways to take care of their family.
So are we reckless then?
We are reckless. As men, we're reckless. As African men, we're even worse. And it's a fact. That's why when our uncles and granddads and generation before us, when they had money, what did they do? They spent money on the women.
Yeah.
They spent money on women.
Nice watches, nice gold chains.
Yeah. But
nice
it was all
suits, nice leopard skin shoes and that.
Right.
Women.
But we did it for the women. We didn't do it because of ourselves. We did it for women.
True.
My dad was a prime example. My granddad. I seen it all happen. So when I lived in the country, and I started this business about 6 years into when I was living there, because it took me to realize, looking around me when I'm driving, and generally life experiences, that the women are the key. And when I did that, when my wife and I did that, guess what? We had a 95% recovery rate.
That's
and
great.
And we switched up. We changed the whole mentality of lending money as well in Ghana at the time, because Ghanaians used to go into the bank to take a loan for 2 years, whatever, pay interest for the 2 years. I completely changed that for them, because I realized money is hard to come by. All right. So if I'm going to lend you £100 as a market stall person, the quicker you pay it back, the more you can get from me. So we devised a system where I'll lend you £500 over 2 months. Yeah, over 2 months rent loan period, not 1 year at crazy interest rates that they're never going to be able to pay. We give you 10% per month interest. So 2 months, you're paying 20% back. Then I break that amount down, the total amount, down to a daily rate. And I come and collect from you every day, maybe £2. Now, Richard, if you're a market person and somebody's coming to collect £2 from you every day, it's nothing. You can afford to pay it back.
Yeah.
At the same time, you're paying back your interest. You're able to get what you want. I'm able to get my money back quicker, and you can come back to me and take more money.
How did you secure the loan though?
I secure the loans against your goods in your shop. Right? Because your shop is not going to go anywhere. The goods in your shop is what you need to sell to be able to pay me back. So if you stop paying, I'll just simply come, collect all your tins of tomatoes, collect your tins of whatever it is. I'll go and stock it somewhere else and sell it to somebody else, And from through that business, we were successful because, as I said, we targeted only women. They were able to pay back. We could put something against your loan, tangible, physical goods, and that's how we built a successful finance company. Now, you can't tell me the average person in this country who is so prudent in finance. When you live in Europe and you live in the West world, you have to be very good in finances. At least to a point. You have to understand the basics. And you have to understand where things come from, where they go. So if you have that kind of mentality, you go back to Africa and you sit down and you look, what do the people need? You will be able to see so many gaps that you'll be able to fill.
True.
Because living in Europe and living in the Western world gives us that foresight that they don't have. Gives us the access. And you know, a business, somebody who has, when I was doing business in Ghana, for example, the culture would always be that the same Ghanaian who lives in Ghana doing a business would not be as successful as me, because the people look up to people like us who've come from here and come back. They know, yeah, they know that you've come with a different way of thinking, a different way of doing things. Even the way you move is different.
Yeah.
You're on time. You are on time to work. Where the culture in Africa is one of, I'm here now.
Turn up when you want, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, turn up when you want. But once you educate and show them that time is your money. If you're on time, you're gonna make money on time. If you're late, you're gonna miss it. You know, so man, we got to push more of our people down that entrepreneurial route, because we've got so much access to it.
So what would you say?
Sorry,
what would you say is the mental block for people within the UK from realizing the potential the various countries in Africa has? Because surely there's a reason why many people are not taking up that option, and they still see the UK as a place of, you know, their immediate or future success. So again, what would you say the mental blockage could potentially be?
Mental blockage comes from the upbringing, lack of education. Look, reading, watching, listening. Those simple skills we take for granted are sometimes the easiest things to unlock some of the answers. Just taking time to just think and ask yourself, you know, wow, why is the Nigerians making so much money? Where are the resources in the world? Asking yourself simple questions can give you these answers. Because I know they know gold in Europe. I know there's no land here. I know there's no natural resources here. So what business am I going to create? And I sit down and I think about, if I have £1 million tomorrow, what would I do in England? And it's very difficult for me to have a good answer, apart from a franchise, apart from going to buy a Burger King franchise and putting it up somewhere on the side of the road, and hopefully people will come and patronize it. So the blockage for people here is because they don't actually know what to do. You have everything.
Sorry, I think, do you think the reason why is because, you know, you mentioned how we've got all the resources in Africa, and that's where ultimately the business is going to be the best, really. Why don't they see that? Those living in Africa and the leaders and the people who are wealthy there, why don't they see that opportunity and capitalize on it? Is there a reason why we see that and they don't?
They don't see it because of poverty. What majority of them? Because of poverty. Because of you have to understand, we slavery created poverty, so on and so forth, and they grew up in that. They grew up in, this is all we have, we make the best of it. Those that go outside and get schooled in education, our leader, our Ghanaian president, for example, he schooled up in Oxford. He went to school with Prince Charles and all these people. Yeah. But even him, he's failed. He's failed because as much as he speaks great English, he's not brought anything to the country and to the economy of all the education he took.
He would argue that he recently installed the free SHS, so the free education.
Did he do well though?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, I'm going to say something. See, maybe someone also say, okay, Richard said, oh, well, look, this is what he did. And then your first thing, instead of saying, oh, it's great he did that, was, did he do well? It's like, well, at least he did that, right?
Oh, at least he did it. But Francis, did he do well? As in, look, was the decision to make a school education free? I think it's school meals or school education free. Was it the best? Yeah. Was education free the best choice at the moment? When you haven't solved our electric problem, when you haven't solved our water access problem, How's a child going to educate themselves and be a success when they go home and there's no electricity or they don't have access to water? So it's a step-by-step thing.
I think in Africa, the problem is in Africa is if you decide to do one project, it's going to, because there's so many things you can do and there's so many things you probably have to sort out. The moment you decide to invest into one thing, it's like when they come, I have to do something. I've got to install something. I might not be able to solve the light issue or the water issue, but I've got to bring something positive. I've got to bring a free school concept. I've got to make
Richard, the thing is, they could do these things. The political spectrum in Ghana, I can talk more about Ghana, is wrong, because let's say you're president, yeah, you started the free education system. When you get voted out of power in 4 years' time, guess what? I come in and I decide I don't want to do what you was trying to do, and I've scrapped it. So now we just wasted £20 million, and you're going to start a new project that you think is good. Then you're going to be there for 4 years. And then that's why nothing gets done. The electric problem could have been solved years ago.
But why? But that's what I'm asking. Why is it like? Why are they doing that? Because you've mentioned all the points, though. You've mentioned all the points of why. But why don't they see that? Like, why is everything so kind of not point scoring? But it's like you mentioned. I've got a great concept that could benefit the kids coming up, but the other guy who comes in for no reason, by the way, will say, "I don't want to carry that on." Why is that? Why is that mentality there?
You said that it is point scoring and it's pride. Black people are prideful over nothing most of the time. I mean, because if someone comes with a good idea, like, guess what, our electric capacity is always tripping out, even to a point. I remember when I was there, not the last time, but maybe like 6 years before that, we even had to, Nigeria was sending us electric. And it's like, why are we buying electric from Nigeria? You know what I mean? Like, why are our efforts not on research and development in how we can use solar or how we can build a new dam? You know, because we're right by the coast. You know what I mean? So how have we not figured out how to harness the power of what we already have to generate electric? But Charles, I think I was going to ask you a question is, what would you be doing, you know what I mean, to solve some of the issues? I know now we've kind of moved on from, okay, I'll give it to you two ways. How would you resolve some of the issues as an entrepreneur who has government backing? And then I want you to answer that similar type of question by, what would you do if you was now the president? Okay.
So to first point, I mean, if I was to give the government any advice to make things better, education, creating free education is great, but educate the people to be able to empower themselves, educating them to handle money, educating them this is what you can do, giving them access to all the resources they need to create our own. Why don't we have chains of wache, the whole brand of it? That's like a McDonald's. Why are we not having this? These are national foods, but yet no one is telling Auntie Sewa, who's making that great wache down the road, that guess what? You could create a whole brand, and you can have branches in every major city in our country. No one in government is coming to her and saying, "Here's a grant, here's a loan, or do it. We support you. We back you. When you're a success, pay us some money back."
So I'm going to counteract that by saying what you had already said is, how can Sister Sarah's wache chain be successful if all the time the electric is tripping out? So your focus is, as an entrepreneur, is not on the electric. No. You're going straight for education, but you just moments ago said, well, he didn't do too well because he should have focused on the electricity. So why is it that you're focusing on the education and not the electric?
Because if the people are educated, they'll know the answer to these things. If I give her the education to say, this is what you can do, guess what? She's going to sit down, analyze it, realize, oh, no, shit, I can do it. Now, because I can do it, how do I do it? Then all the questions come is, how am I going to be able to do it with my electric problem? Fine. The government's not going to do nothing for you. You could do it yourself, though. You get yourself a generator. You get yourself solar. You know, there's ways we can also solve our, and a lot of people, Africans, do that. They don't rely on the government. Like we never rely on the government. Like when I used to run business in Ghana, one of the best things my dad used to always say to me, don't be a friend with a politician. Don't be friends with politicians. Because the politician is the worst friend or the worst business partner you can have. He's in power today, out of power tomorrow. When he's out of power, he can't help you no more. So if you do it yourself, you know, the government ain't gonna solve the light problem. Fine, I'm just gonna buy myself a generator. I bought plants, I've built inverters, like I've done all sorts just to solve these things for myself, so that my business can go on, and I can create jobs and so on and so forth. Now, if I'm in power, obviously as the next president of Ghana, you know, corruption.
I don't know where to start.
Yeah, I don't know where to start because
it's that big of a mess, literally.
corruption is the biggest. The corruption is the biggest problem in Africa, and even our president now, even though he's educated in Oxford, he's chopping the money. I don't even need nobody to tell. I know this because he's come in there and realized the one before him did it, so that all his family and all his generations to come. So the first thing they want to do when they come in is gather as much money as possible, sort themselves and their immediate family out, and then they try and start thinking. By that time, 4 years is up, they've been voted out of power because you spent all the money you was meant to do that road project with. And this is a vicious cycle we go through. So
when are we going to draw the line, and when is someone going to stand up and say, you know what, I'm going to come in, not for myself, but to serve the country like I promised I was going to do.
Richard, it's going to take you. It's going to take you going home, Richard. It's going to take
maybe, but I'm a patient person. But I just look at the current state and I'm thinking, where am I going to start with it? Like, even Santa Claus couldn't fix it. Do you know what I mean? And he's giving millions of kids presents around the world. Do you know what I mean? It's like we mentioned really good points here, but it has to come a point where the reason why we as young people probably don't see Africa as a place of where we should be going and taking our futures is because the people who are there leading the countries, they're not showing me there's a possibility to do that. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, they're not showing me a possibility that could be. I mean, I think Nelson Mandela all those years ago, he was sort of bringing one of the first people that kind of like tried to make like proper change and trying to change the future and stuff. But everybody else, like, I'm not looking at Ghana thinking now this is a great place for me. It's right, we can make millions there, but I'm not looking at it because of what they're doing. You know, that it's a great place to go and start. Even the police people, you're talking about young people wanting to be police. What examples are the police setting them right now? If I'm a young person walking on the road and asking drivers for money and stuff, how am I going to be when I get into the job? I'm thinking, okay, I should be taking money from drivers now, but that's not how it should be. You've got a duty to serve the people in Ghana. That's your duty. You wear the uniform because of the badge on the front, and your duty to serve people. That's what you've got to do. But there's no role models there. That's the problem.
But the thing is, even for the policemen, the problem they've got, it's not even their fault as well, because
it's a cycle. It starts from the top.
It's a vicious cycle. It starts on the top because the politician who is supposed to pay me enough money as a policeman to do my job ethically and correctly, he's giving me peanuts. Because when the budget comes for the police, someone at the top is chopping some. So what's left after now, we're going to pay them. So that's why they stand on the road and they see wealthy people and they take the money from them because they're not even earning enough to take care of themselves. And you can make so much money. I mean, last year I went to Ghana and one of the DSPs, a whole DSP, he's my friend now. He was in Gucci in Ghana shopping. Now, I was shocked when I saw a Gucci shop in Accra anyway. I was like, wow, this is good. Let me walk in and see what's going on. Now, I wasn't going to buy nothing, right? And they're standing there is a whole detective superintendent of police. Now, how's he got this money to be buying $500 Gucci shoes? And they're not even ashamed to hide it. Like, they're out there, this is it.
Yeah, they're very overt with it. Like, whereas over here it's covert, but over there, it's in your face.
Overt. Corruption is everywhere in governments, all across the world. America, every government is corrupt. But it's about, that's why you gotta love you gotta follow some part of this European and Western system. You chop some. If it's 100%, if you're chopping 100%, there's gonna be nothing. Yeah. But if I take my 10% every time, at least there's 90% to try and do something. Yeah. And that's what the Europe and the Americans do.
Yeah. The greediness is very.
It's through the roof.
You know what I mean? It's massive. Honestly, it is massive. Like you said, we don't think. Like you said, a great point. When they come into power, it's about, okay, I'm sorting my family up in the next 10 years, and then I'll think about the rest of the people.
So,
The people who you stood on the podium and told them that you'd be putting them first and helping them through no matter what, you're putting them last. But the thing is, I don't care though, because if you vote me out of position, I'm going to go to America or whatever, and I'm going to live my life. I don't care. That's how they see it. That's. But my question is, when is that cycle gonna? Will it ever stop? Basically,
it won't stop, because even in political campaigns, yeah, when the president that's sitting there now was campaigning for office, guess what they were doing? They were bribing people with money. They were buying voters with money. So when they come to the village, they give you it's not even like crazy amounts of money. We give you £10, £5, £5, £2 here, £2 here. Guess what? The poor uneducated person, you've given him £5. He's never gonna forget he's gonna vote for you. That's on top of the corruption in terms of stealing the votes. But even the whole campaigning, the whole political process is based on giving money to people, so they can come and vote for you.
We've done that here a bit in the UK in a very different way with the whole furlough, because you can now turn around and say, "Oh look, there was a crisis, but we gave, so you should vote us back in again."
Exactly.
Do you see what I mean? And so I guess it's just done, I guess, very differently, whereas over here we make it look like, this is the right way of doing something which is bad. And over there, they just don't give a damn how it looks.
Basically,
We need to create political parties. That's how the change will come.
I think
slowly.
We could have a new party that could easily, let's say there's enough funding from wherever you can get the funding from that could rival the current parties that I think are NDC and
MPP.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I remember there was CPP, but them man,
CPP,
I think they've kind of given up, really. I think when you've got the two dominant parties, like the big two are other parties, I think they kind of look at it and think, well, that's the thing. The people in the country, they don't see any other alternative than NPP and NDC.
And you know what's the problem, right? It's people vote based on family biased, right? I know my dad is a strong NDC guy. No matter how good NPP do, you know what I'm saying?
He criticizes NPP,
He don't care, He'll go all the way back to when a FIFA sold out somebody for $10 million and blah, 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 blah. He would go all these stories. You just think, dude, but we're living for today.
That's how my dad. So my dad, because when Jerry Rollins was the president back in, was it 80s, was the president. That's when my dad was a proper NDC. And he hasn't changed till this day, by the way. Every time they talk on the radio and they're criticizing John Muhammad, the guy just walks out of the room. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
But then John made himself and his family so rich. John Mahama has held every single political position in power.
Exactly.
Before president. You know how much money that guy has chopped?
But you see, if we keep...
That's the thing, but they don't see past it, though. That's the thing.
That's the problem. And so if we're never going to see past our political bias, when you go to the ballot box, you're never going to mark the option which is best for you in this current state of time, because you're marking it based on who I like the most. You know what I'm saying? And not who is going to help the nation in the best capacity, even though your guy, you can clearly see in his manifesto that he's lying through his teeth, ain't nothing going to happen.
No accountability.
None whatsoever. So I'm going to ask you quickly, you know what I mean? Because I know we've dovetailed off into...
Run out of time, haven't we?
Yeah, almost run out of time again. What I would say is then, if you were going to create a political party, you know what I'm saying, how would you first go about doing it? And how much funding do you think would be needed to achieve something like that in Ghana that could rival the NPPs?
You need £1 billion to start with. Once you got £1 billion,
heck of a lot of money. I was thinking,
but is it a hell of money if you went to every single European, African, and America and gathered £100, you probably get that $1 billion. Yeah, everybody donated it and put it in, and we have the right agenda, a right political agenda, a right political forum to make change. I think people would follow you. It's only because these two parties have been there so long, they've built up so much wealth in corruption and so on, and they pay people off, and that's what it is. You come with a different message. Trust me, these are generations to come. Our generation, the youth in Ghana, our age, they think differently. They've been to Europe. They've traveled. They've seen TV. They watch TV. Now, with social media and the whole world being such a small place now, it allows people who couldn't have access back in the day to TV and to internet and all that, they have it now. They know what it's like to have good things and to live a different life. So if you can come there and say, look, this is what I'm going to create. I'm going to create free healthcare. I'm going to create the free education. I'm going to sort out your water and your electric and stick to it and let me be accountable for it. Because I'm going to come and promise you water and I'm going to come and promise you electricity. If I don't have it in 4 years, don't vote for me.
You know, crazy about that. I mean, I love what you're saying, and I'm thinking, why hasn't someone, come up with this again? Like you said earlier, maybe one of the three of us or all three of us could, kick something like that off going forward. But I feel like with the opposition, I think maybe they'll first find a way to block you from even entering the race. And if you are somehow in the race and maybe they find out they're losing, maybe they will do their best to make like whatever they're doing even worse, so that you don't have a good start when you get into the office. So then your first 4 years is almost a definite fail. Like
but
the water system. Go on.
What happened with the Middle East uprisings though? Middle East people, you never would have thought, and it's happening even in Saudi Arabia, some of the most strictest Muslim nations. They're changing because it's the people. It don't matter what these two political parties decide. If the people come together to say we want this change, the change is gonna happen.
And with that being said, you know what I mean? Thank you, Views from the East End. You know what I mean? This is what we do. This is what we talk about.
Yeah, look, honestly, this has probably been one of my favorite tracks, to be honest, because I've always wanted to talk about like the current state in Africa, and especially when it comes to politics, because I feel as if they're not helping the people at all. After all these years, we're still fighting the same fights and they're still having the same struggles there. So, yeah, Charles, it's been great talking to you about this. And I think we should have another separate conversation about this again, to be honest, because I think there's so much you could talk about. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, it's been a great chat today. And I don't feel as if there's any. I don't think there's enough hours in a day to actually cover all the stuff, to be honest.
Not at all.
We can try though, but it would be a long time, won't it? So, but yeah, listen, again, Charles, I mean, are you on social media, by the way? Can people sort of follow you? Can they keep
you can follow me on Instagram and I think what's the other ones? Facebook and all the rest of it. I'll get Francis to send out my deals if anyone's. I'm a controversial person, but I believe what I believe in, and I think we can do so much better for ourselves.
You speak your opinion, which is always important, isn't it? So.
That's it, and that's what people don't really like, but that's what people need to hear.
Yeah,
it's the truth.
True. 100%. But yeah, listen, it's been a great chat today, guys. DJ as always, pleasure. Charles again.
Thanks for having me, guys.
My big thanks. We'll have you again pretty soon, Charles.
Definitely. I look forward to it.
And yeah, for the rest of you guys, listen, if you've enjoyed our podcast today, again, please subscribe, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and also, is it Facebook? Yeah, Facebook as well. Keep up to date. New content coming, you guys, not every single week, but we try to anyway. But yeah, coming frequently, I should say. But yeah, we appreciate your support, guys. It's not always easy, I know, to sort of stay positive in tough times like this, but we're always doing our best to sort of bring you the best content we could possibly do. So yeah, keep supporting us, keep sharing our content, keep liking, or again, subscribe. And until next time, we'll see you guys pretty soon.
Take care.